can you describe what it's like when I'm manic? Because that kind of ties into that.
So I would say when you're manic, I mean, our sex life gets like infinitely better. Again, sorry, mom and dad and Steve's parents. No, you don't. Just wear earmuffs for that part. I mean, it does. That's how it. I mean, that is your biggest tell. Is like you're a lot hornier all the time.
My mom's gonna hear this and be like, "Oh, fuck."
Well, you said in another podcast that you're like talking about when you're manic and sex stuff. But yeah,
she might have skipped over that.
Well, we can just tell her to skip this part. I don't know, but I mean, it's a big part of how I know. I mean, it is. It's probably your biggest tell. But like, I also like when you start. Like, I am not a morning person, and most days he's really good because he gets up significantly earlier than I do. Most days he knows he'll have my coffee ready and he'll give me like 25 minutes before he comes in the room, to the living room to talk to me. He like tries to like give me that space in the morning. When he's manic, that does not happen. I wake up, and because he's been up for several hours, he's immediately like, oh, let me just talk at you really fast about anything. And it's like, sometimes I'm like, okay, dude, just slow the fuck down. You know, so that's a tell usually, is when you're more like raring to go in the mornings. I mean, you're up before me, but you're a lot more chill most days. Right. But when you're manic, it's like, I need to just speak to somebody. Like, you're just
I'm not really talking to you. I'm just talking.
Yeah, you're just talking. You get more talkative. You go into a lot more detail about things. Like, sometimes it's things I don't really give a fuck about.
I know.
Especially first thing in the morning, but you know. I just smile and nod and say aha and like try to listen the best I can. I would say too, you are more. I would say the not happy parts of mania is that like you feel like you need to be going all the time. And so when I say that, I mean if you're not, like if your schedule isn't, when you're manic, if your schedule isn't jam-packed, you don't know what to do with yourself. And so you get antsy.
I think I'm like that all the time anyway.
You are, but not as bad as when you're manic. Like if you're manic and your schedule only has like 2 things in it, and you have downtime, you don't know how to handle the down. You're antsy. You're all over, and then you get irritated. Yeah. And that's what causes the irritation a lot of the times. And then it's like you're manic and you're up and you're on it and on one. And it's that
not like drunk on one.
No,
right?
I just mean like you can go off on a rant for 15 minutes and like, you know, and just sometimes it's a lot, but it doesn't, since being medicated, I would say your phases are pretty, neither phase seems to last a ton, like really long. A couple of days at max, usually, maybe a week. For mania anyway, I would say mania lasts longer than the down. Usually, you know, when you're manic, you can be very peppy and social and all those things. I mean, you're not social, but you're more social than normal.
I would say when I'm manic, that's like the only time that I'm really like, I would say honestly, because when I was younger, I was like a really big social, but I was probably manic most of that time. Yeah. I was probably manic as fuck for a long time when I was a kid. I mean, there's probably reasons for that. Yeah. Like illegal reasons for that. But we won't go into that.
I know, you're sober now, it's fine.
Yeah, right. But I think and now I think that's the only time that I really feel like myself is when I'm manic. I think most of the time, like I feel like I'm not manic and I'm not depressed all the time because I'm medicated, but I think when I feel like the most me is when I'm manic. Yeah. And I think that's because growing up I was used to I was manic, I think most of the time. I mean, I definitely went into depressive phases, you know. I think high school is definitely middle school, and as a kid I showed symptoms of it, but I think in high school, looking back on it, is really jumped up. Yeah. You know, like ramped up. And I think because I was so used to being manic, I think that's why like now why I feel most like myself whenever I'm manic.
Yeah.
Because it's most recognizable to me.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, that does make sense.
On the other side of that, what is it like when I'm what's it like when I'm depressed?
When you're depressed in a down phase, because I think that there is a slight difference between when you're just down, like having a bad day,
right?
Depressed versus
can't get out of the bed depressed.
Can't like down phase. Because when the kids left, you hit a depressive phase and then you got out of it, but you were still down, but it wasn't a down phase. Does that make sense? Yeah. That was, I think, just normal depression.
Right, I was just sad.
Just that normal sad.
Yeah.
But I would say when I know you're in a down is like if you go like, it's just there's almost like a physical change. You just seem Eeyore. I hate, like, that's a good example of it. You like physically, like when you're in a good either manic phase or a regular baseline phase, like you put effort into how you look. You like to dress up more. You feel more comfortable when you're put together. But when you're depressed, you don't care. You typically like don't take care, not that you don't take care of yourself, but like
right. No, my hygiene goes to shit.
You shower less.
My hygiene goes to
ass.
That's typical though.
Sweats.
Like that's a depressed. That's a bipolar typical symptom though.
You're in bed for like you take a lot of naps, but your nighttime sleeping doesn't change. Right. I will say that your nighttime sleeping doesn't change whether you're manic or not.
I'm just fatigued more. Yes. I think
you almost hunch into yourself a little bit. Too.
I'm just tired.
Yeah. And you don't talk.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you don't, like you said, you're not the most talkative person all the time, but like it's different. You don't talk. It's like and if I ask you something or a question, your answer is always, I don't know, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care,
right.
I don't care. And it's like, you can tell a difference in your voice and the tone of your voice. And it's just, you kind of just sit there. I mean, we could be watching your favorite show and you just don't care. And, like it's that like infinite sadness feeling that I get from you when you're in those phases.
How's that make you feel?
It makes me sad, and sometimes it makes me feel like shitty because it's like, I don't know how to help you. I know, and like I said, logical Asha knows that there's nothing I can do to help you, but just be there for you. But I do take it personally sometimes. I don't mean to, but that's my own insecurity because I want to make you feel better because I love you. So it's hard to watch sometimes, but like, I just know that I have to just give you your space and let you just be, and that just give it a couple of days and you'll move out of it.
Okay. So how do you how has that impacted our relationship, like on a deeper level?
I mean,
like all of this, like how does it all, I guess,
impact our relationship? Well, yeah. I mean, it definitely does, in that it is, you just strive as a partner, you have to strive, like as a partner to someone who has bipolar, you have to strive to really be committed to it, because you're not gonna have like all these, I mean, nobody has easy days right. all the time, but it's a little different. Like, it's a commitment to like stick through it and like know that it's not always personal, that it's not always anything you can control, and like it's work, but like you're worth it. And I know you hate when I say that, but you are. But yeah, it's just, you have to want to be in it, and it is way more challenging than I think for a non-neurodivergent person, or a person who doesn't have a type of mental disorder or anything like that.
Oh, you definitely have one.
Oh, I know.
No, you definitely have one. You have ADD or ADHD for sure.
I know. It's undiagnosed. We know.
No, but you have it. There's no question.
I mean, I have depression too, a little bit, and I have a definite anxiety disorder, like, for sure, because I get anxious like nobody's business. But like,
I think you get stressed out, like, and that causes your anxiety. I think.
Yes and no. Sometimes I'm just anxious out of nowhere, but
yeah, that's true.
Don't tell you about it.
No, I can tell. I can tell sometimes, and that you can tell. You have your tells. You're pretty easy to read too, but I don't know. I lost my train of thought with that.
But I think it does impact our relationship because it's learning to work around it. It's learning to love someone through the different ways that you are. I mean, it can be really hard. There's definitely been some hard moments in our relationship that like made me like question like, am I able to get through this? Am I able to push through it? And for him and for me, and I think obviously I've chosen yes every time those thoughts have come through. I mean, you and I have been, what situations I'm talking about, like where there's been nights where we've gotten into fights and like we packed a whole fucking suitcase like that. It's learning to work through it and to stick through it and to choose to be in it. Like I feel like I choose to be with you. Like I have to choose to be with you in order to make this work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. Right. I think that's any relationship though.
It is.
But I think it's a little like. I think it's a little extra for people with for you. I think you have to work a little harder at it.
Yeah.
And what's shitty is that like I feel like you have way more weight than I do, and like that you.
Oh, like I carry more weight.
Yeah, like you have to work harder at the relationship than I do because like I require more attention. I require more I require a lot because I am a lot, and it's a lot to have to deal with somebody like me. But for me, on the other side, it's not like you're a lot easier. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel guilty that you have to put up with me and all my shit, and that you have to work as hard. Does that make sense?
It does.
It's like I feel shitty about that.
I know, but the thing is that it's not. You shouldn't feel shitty about it because it's a choice I make, and obviously by me choosing it, it means that I'm in it. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not. It's not like you're my last resort. Like you are the only person. Like that's not why I choose to be with you. I choose to make it work because you're you. And I love you, and I love the way that you love me, and I love our relationship. And I know you just cringed. He doesn't like to hear these things, but I like to tell them to him all the time, just maybe with the hope that one day it'll stick in his brain.
I mean, it sticks. I just don't like to hear it.
But yeah, it's I don't know, maybe I think, and maybe I do, I think I like the chaos of it a little bit. I mean, I think that it's...
I mean, I can imagine that it's fun. It's not dull.
It can be fun. It's not dull. It's not dull. And I mean, does it suck sometimes? Yeah. Have there been some really hard times where it's like, what are we doing? Yeah. But, like I said, I don't know. There's just something, when we met, and this sound, like, I know this sounds hilly and people are going to be like, how do people just know? I don't know. I just knew. I felt it in my bones that like this was it. This was all I needed. And so because I know that, it makes it easier to fight through it for me.
What advice would you give to others who are in a relationship with someone that has bipolar?
I would say definitely if you have had no experience with it or don't know anybody who has it, educate yourself a little. Look it up, read about it.
Yeah.
And if you can, if you have the means to talk with a therapist, I'd have a therapist because it helps. I mean, I say that not having one right now, but I've also been through a lot of therapy, so I was able to take those tools that I already had into this. But patience, knowing that it try to remember it's not always you. Don't take that on personally. That was a big one for me, was to learn to let go of taking it personally. As I said before, like I still do sometimes, but for the most part, I think I've gotten a lot better at not taking it personally. And just know that all you can do is really just support them through things. I mean, our relationship's a little different because it's not, I can't say, had we met when you were younger and just, going through different like phases, I don't know that we would have stayed together, because like the thing is like part of what makes us work now too is that you are sober, and like so I know that addiction can be a really big thing for people who have bipolar, and if that's who your partner is, just try to get them help, but know that they're the only ones that can help themselves when it comes to that, but that
took me a long time to learn.
Yeah.
Like on my own.
Like, so I can only really, say advice from a person who's with someone who is sober, because I feel like to be with a person who has bipolar and an addiction is a lot harder. Not saying it can't be done. I think it definitely can be. I mean, I feel like that makes you a saint, though, a little bit.
What?
Being with somebody who has an addiction and bipolar.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
And if you stick around.
No, yeah, for sure. Like,
but, like, I'm getting off topic here, but I guess more advice, just try to just be patient. Don't get upset with them for things they can't control. Although, I mean, for us, it's easier because, like, the typical, like, manic behavior you haven't had much of. Like, you're not crazily spending money. You're not.
No, I'm like the opposite of that now. I'm like,
you know what I mean? Like, so, like, I think it'd be different if, like, you were kind of like, I think being medicated helps a lot. I think that's why you're not making all those, like, impulse decisions. So that does help. I would encourage your partner to work with a therapist or a mental health professional if they're not medicated, because I think being medicated really helps for this. You can definitely do it without it for certain types of bipolar. I think the one that you have, Steve, is one that needs to be medicated. I don't think.
Yeah, no, I cannot go without medicine.
I mean, my good friend Ari, she is unmedicated, but she also has a slight different, I forget which one she has, but it's not the same as you. But she also did go through a lot of intensive therapy to get to where she could manage it without medication. So I would say, like, just if your partner hasn't even, if all they have is a diagnosis, then just encourage them to stick with a mental health provider and to work through it, and maybe even see one yourself if it's, just to get some tools on how to deal with it, and just,
I think be a part of it, like be active, is a big part of it. I think it's kind of what
proactive.
You're right. Like, learn the signs and symptoms and the triggers and shit, and know that's what's know the storm before it's coming.
Yes, that definitely helps. I would say too, like, communication between your partner and yourself, whoever else your support system is,
and learning that communication, learning how to communicate, because people with bipolar, I mean, I don't know about everybody with bipolar. I know me personally, it's hard for me to communicate, especially, like, most of the time I don't know what I'm going through. Like, I don't know how I'm feeling. I don't know anything. Like, I know we need to go get the laundry, but I don't know how to explain those things, and so for a lot of people that can be frustrating. So I think it's important to just kind of, like, take a breath, take a step back, and just understand, well, they don't know what the fuck they're going through, so how the hell am I supposed to understand what they're going through, and not just not get frustrated with it. So yeah, I think that was a good thing.
Make sure to, I mean, I'm bad at this, but I'm getting better at it. Don't throw everything you have into this other person, because you're gonna be the most beneficial to your partner if you're also taking care of yourself.
Yeah, right.
If you don't just throw everything you have into bettering the other partner, because you'll never be able to completely do that, because this is not a disease that gets better.
Right.
It can be managed, but it's never going to go away.
Right.
And the quicker you realize that and kind of remember to take care of yourself too and protect yourself too, I think is helpful, because there are times where, like, I've had to, like, be like, no, I can't do what you want to do right now. Like, I know that you were, think it's this great big idea, but I knew enough to, like, step back and, like, kind of protect my own energy, if you will, a little bit. Because if you're out of, I guess the analogy is if you're out of spoons, or if you've given everything, all of your energy to this other person, then you can't help them any, like, it's gonna deteriorate your own self, and then you're no good, like, you're no good to being able to help them, and you're no good to yourself, and that's kind of like not a good, healthy way to be about it. So I would say just take care of yourself too. Make sure you're taking time to take care of yourself, and you know, when you're able to do that, then you can better be there and be supportive to your partner.
No, I agree. We need to go get the laundry because my alarm went off, and we need to go get the laundry. Okay. So I'm gonna cut this off. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you for doing this for me. I appreciate it. If you
have questions, send them in, and we'll answer them.
Yeah, maybe you can answer some of them. That'd be cool.
I feel like that'd be way more, because like this is great, just having prompt points, but like I don't know how to best like answer something.
Well, I think if some people like had questions and they sent them in, we could sit down and have another one and answer some of their questions that way. I think that would be kind of cool. Yeah. All right, let's go get this laundry and be done with it.